everybody. Welcome to my channel.
Recording in progress.
This channel is rated PG.
Hi, I'm May, and this is my former friend Emma.
What?
I'm May.
And I'm dead inside.
Yeah. Okay, so we watched Nightmare on Elm Street.
On Elm Street, Nancy Thompson and a group of her friends comprising Tina Gray, Rod Lane, and Glenn Lance are being tormented by a clawed killer in their dreams named Fred Krueger. Nancy must think quickly as Fred tries to pick them off one by one. When he has you in your sleep, who is there to save you?
Ooh. Our sponsor is the Milner that made Freddy Krueger's fedora.
Yep. So welcome to Rated PG. My name is Emma.
My name is May.
We're best buds and best pals.
Yes, we are. We love watching horror movies. We're excited about Halloween, and we want to share our experiences with you, but in a fun way that's good for the kids. Parental guidance is suggested, but it's not required.
So if you're under 13, you are welcome to this channel. If you are over 13, you're also welcome. But
very inclusive.
We accept everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody.
We accept everybody, people under and over 13. Not 13-year-olds, though.
No. Absolutely not. If you can relate to the musical 13.
Or if you're 13 going on 30.
Ugh, sorry, Jennifer Garner.
Yeah.
She's not welcome.
Like our protagonist in this story, I'm drinking some coffee. Her mom takes away her coffee maker, and lo and behold, she has an additional coffee maker that's just like, it seems on and plugged in under her shelf.
Yeah, some kids do drugs and some kids do coffee.
This was the first movie that we decided to watch together for a number of reasons. One, it was released in 1984, very Orwellian. We love that.
We love Orwellian.
Yeah. It's also just a classic and a very enjoyable movie, and I hadn't watched it since early high school. And
Me
so
too.
I was excited to see it again. Hello to the viewers of this review show. I'll tell you the plot of the film so you know the story that we will henceforth be discussing, and we guarantee that there will not be cussing. At the top of the film, we meet young Tina Gray. This girl's having nightmares that won't go away. She confides in her friends, who reveal with surprise they've been chased in their dreams by the same sweatered guy. They agree to give Tina some company till night's end. Her mother's out. She's understandably frightened. And folks, if you thought it was all just a nightmare, it soon becomes clear that a killer is right there. Poor Tina is murdered inside of her dream by a weird little creep with a villainous scheme. He chases down victims inside of their slumber. They die in real life. It's a hell of a bummer. Sadly for Tina, her life is cut short. It brings me no pleasure at all to report that the obvious suspect is Rod, her boyfriend, the single witness to her untimely end. He's soon thrown in jail, but their pal Nancy fears that something not quite right is happening here. Why would Rod murder Tina? They had a small fight, but they seemed to be getting along well that night. Nancy's hung up on Tina's final worries. This dream murder guy she's seen too, so she hurries down to the police station to talk to Rod, but sadly, all that's left is his lifeless bod. With 2 victims down, our nightmare villain Fred sets his sights on our hero. He wants Nancy dead. She drinks too much coffee and tries not to snooze. This goes on for days. Her mom gives her some news. She's signed Nancy up for this sleep study type thing. The doctors are like, we think she's just stressing, since 2 of her friends just met horrible fates, but we think we can probably set all of this straight. Nancy goes to sleep, but when she starts to dream, she's jolted awake with a powerful scream. And weirdest of all is the big reveal that, from out of her nightmare, she's pulled Freddy's hat. Poor Nancy's mother bolts windows and door of the house. Nancy asks her what this could be for. Does she know the backstory of dream killer Freddy? Of course she does. She tries to keep herself steady while explaining that Fred Krueger was a child killer. It's safe to say this Fred guy could have been chiller. His trial was a bust because no one signed a warrant. The killer walked free. The town found this abhorrent. So when Fred was released, some parents got together and burnt up the guy with the red stripy sweater. So Fred can't be out here terrorizing your friends, Mom explained, because I orchestrated his end. Nancy decides that instead of no sleep, she'll have to face Fred in her dreams, the old creep. She comes up with a plan to grab onto the rat. He'll appear in the real world, just like his dumb hat. She tells boyfriend Glenn of the plan, so he'll be there to kill real-world Freddy. How bad could that be? Turns out pretty bad because Fred gets Glenn first. This Fred Krueger guy is the absolute worst. That's a problem for later. Nancy changes the plan. She's relying instead on a much older man. Nancy's dad soon agrees to break down the doors of the boarded-up house after young Nancy lures Freddy into the real world. It is kind of nuts, but I'll give Nancy credit. This girl sure has guts. In the wake of the untimely death of her friends, she takes into her own hands how this will end. Now here's where the film gets a tad convoluted. She brings Freddy out, he gets electrocuted. She sets him on fire, Dad finally appears, but on fire Freddy has gone up the stairs. In a turn of events, Freddy kills Nancy's mother. The guy is on fire. By the time Nancy smothers the flames, her poor mom just couldn't be crisper. She disappears without so much as a whisper. Nancy is left to face Freddy alone. The creep looks at her like a dog would a bone. But just before he can strike the killing blow, Nancy's like, actually, I gotta go. This whole thing's a dream. I have nothing to fear. And Theoden voice, you have no power here. Give me back my poor mother. Give back all my friends. For a sec, it appears this is how the tale ends. Fred Krueger has vanished. It's morning again. Nancy steps outside to drive to school with her friends. It's a happy conclusion. That is, till to their shock, the door of the car just won't seem to unlock. And the car drives away, I guess to its doom. At least that's what I think we're supposed to assume. It's baffling stuff. I confess my brain's weary. But give it a watch. Maybe you'll have a theory. So we have 5 criteria that we want to discuss in relation to each of the horror movies we watch during this most spooky of seasons.
We got how many jump scares out of 5 candy corns?
Yes.
How many jump scares out of 5 candy corns? It was like not too jump scare heavy. So I would say it's a solid like 2.5 out of 5 candy corns.
I was going to go lower.
Wow.
I was going to just do a flat 2 candy corns. I really didn't think there were jump scares to speak of in this movie. There were a couple of alarming visuals, but I wouldn't call them jump scares. Like the moment where he slices 2 of his fingers off for no reason. It's an alarming visual.
When he like cuts his like nipple area.
Yeah, and his guts
it's, like,
are
green.
Really disgusting looking, but it's more in a way that I feel like he has a disease that I'm like worried about him.
That's not natural.
No, certainly not. Which could be due to the fact that he has been dead for a long time. I don't know what happens in there.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend being dead for a long time and then like going about societally. What? Societally? Like like going about your everyday
business. Yes.
Yeah, like if you've been dead for a while, like take it easy. Like bed rest.
I was gonna say have a nap, but the premise of this movie is that you explicitly shouldn't have a nap.
Yeah, this movie is very anti-sleep. Which it's not a position that I stand with.
Yeah. Emma's very pro sleep. I learned this when I called her last night at 11:30 and I woke her up. Are we going for 2 candy corns or are we doing 2.5? I'm gonna let you decide.
I'll defer to you. I think 2. 2 candy corns.
2 candy
because
corns.
that's like the amount of candy corns you want to eat. Like just 2.
That's even high for me vis-a-vis candy corns. They're disgusting.
Oh well, I think they're nice. I think they're a nice seasonal treat.
Anyway, moving swiftly along from perhaps my least favorite thing, candy corn.
How much gore out of 5 knives? There was a bit of gore in this.
There was definitely a bit of gore.
More than 2.
So there were definitely a number of gory moments with the body bag. It was dragged around. Lots of blood on the floor. The centipede comes out of, is her name Tina?
Tina, yeah.
Yes, it comes out of her mouth. Then she has a big pile of guts on the floor. Loved the weird bubbling sound effect in that moment. It's like her guts are bubbling, I guess, but it sounded like some soup.
Yeah.
Weird. A questionable choice. And then, of course, Johnny Depp's death.
Poor Johnny Depp.
It's a real old
faithful moment.
It kind of is like if you didn't put the lid on the Vitamix, is how I would describe it.
Or like a blender, like
A
honestly.
Vitamix is a blender. It's a high-powered blender.
I don't know that. I don't know what that is. So I just went with
It's
it.
a high-powered blender. He becomes a Johnny Depp smoothie.
I gotta go. I have a prior commitment actually. But this was fun.
This was when you made fun of me for not knowing blender brands. I actually had a great time.
I actually really liked that. I'm between 3 and 4.
I was gonna say 3.5. I also want to quickly give a shout out to the sweater vests in this movie. And I have chosen to wear a sweater vest as a little reference. And
yeah, pour one out.
So fully back in style, which I love.
To all our viewers out there, both of you, if you have a sweater vest on, leave a comment. Leave a comment.
Yes. If your mom lets you use the YouTube channel.
If your mom lets you use her YouTube account,
yes,
make sure to leave a comment with her permission. I don't want to be involved in any
please
seedy behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah,
one
get
time
your parents'
my
permission.
Mom's cat climbed over the keyboard and left a comment on YouTube.
Wow, what video?
A video of cats.
So she knew what she was doing. What's our next categories? How many laughs out of pumpkins?
I laughed a lot. I
laughed a lot too. Well, just first of all, Tina's limp body knocking over her boyfriend was really funny to me. I mean, not funny to Tina or her friends, but
not funny to Rod for sure, but funny to me.
Man, did I get a kick out of it.
And he got a kick out of the flying body. I think for me, one of the highlights and funniest moments was the conversation that Nancy has with her mom right before all of it. First of all, like when she drops the bottle of alcohol, iconic, hilarious. But I think just her physicality when at one point Nancy is like making a big point and she puts her arm on the wall in the most unnatural way I've ever seen. And it seems like they just put the wrong take into the movie, or maybe she did it really naturally one time and then for continuity she had to keep doing it that way, but it wasn't natural any of the other times. Awkward. She's like, Mom, you don't even get it.
The whole scene was just like chef's kiss.
It
was so good. If you've seen the movie, you know what we're talking about, and if you haven't seen the movie, just watch this scene. Like it's so can we talk about the tongue moment in the phone?
So gross.
So they're on the phone. Nancy's on the phone with Freddie. Well, no, she thinks she's on the phone with her boyfriend, Glenn, Johnny Depp. And it's Freddie, and he's like, I'm your boyfriend, Nancy. And then the whole bottom half of the phone is a mouth and a tongue.
What I love about that moment, and about a lot of moments in this movie, is that it has this dream logic that just makes no sense. Like when you have a nightmare that to you it was genuinely a really scary nightmare, but then you try to explain details of it when you're awake and some of it just sounds dumb. The phone had a tongue. That's a perfect example of that. So Emma, in one word, what's the vibe?
I want to say like 80s.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because it's just like so purely 80s is this movie.
Yeah. I mean, when you start out the movie and it's just kids going to school, it could go in any direction. It might be a raunchy comedy.
Yeah, it's like teens being teens in the beginning, like
just
playing
guys
friends.
being dudes.
Just guys being dudes.
Not to cast aspersions on the actor playing Nancy, who I'm sure is a wonderful person. But she doesn't seem to be buying it the entire time. Like, she doesn't seem tired. Ever.
Yeah.
And she doesn't react to anything. I was going to say in the way that you would expect, but I actually think I just mean she doesn't react to anything at any point. Yeah. And so it's really hard to truly get on board because the person who we're seeing the whole thing through the eyes of is like, Oh no. I feel
Yeah.
like the one person who seemed like she was reacting to things was Glenn's mom.
Glenn's mom was the MVP of this movie. Also, the teacher is a great actor
Yeah.
in this movie.
She's like, Hamlet, let's talk about it.
4 pumpkins out of
Yeah.
5 for laughter. There weren't that many eye rolls for me
No,
because
I actually agree with that.
anytime I would want to eye roll, I would laugh.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I thought it was much more, I was not irritated by this movie. You know what I mean?
No.
For me, an eye
Yeah.
roll was like, oh, come on, this is stupid symbolism or whatever. I didn't feel
Yeah.
that way at all. I thought this movie is actually pretty pared down as these things go. There's not a lot of
Yeah.
heavy-handed stuff. I didn't roll my eyes a lot in this movie. I would literally say like a 1. I was enjoying myself. Fun romp.
Fun romp. A fun spooky romp. Okay, how much fun? Well, we kind of answered that. Out of 5 ghosts, I would say 5 out of 5.
Yeah,
5 out of
loved
5,
it.
baby. It was a
For
fun.
the whole time.
Yeah, it's a great time.
Really excellent stuff.
Okay, let's go with, was I genuinely scared? I was. I think the concept is scary enough. Like the concept that like you can't go to sleep or else like this serial killer is going to come at you in your dreams and it's real. Like I think that's a very, very scary concept. I was a little like, whoa, at moments. So yeah, I was definitely genuinely scared. I mean, not like terrified, but there's some.
I was not scared by it at all. This is not the kind of thing that bothers me. As you will probably see later on in our series, I'm pretty much never bothered by supernatural stuff, and that includes things happening in dreams. I find a straight up and down slasher film creepier because I'm much more afraid of people than I am of supernatural stuff.
Yeah. And Beauty and the Beast too.
Horrible.
Terrifying. Was it a good movie? We did touch upon this, but I definitely think it was.
I agree. I would watch this again. I thought it was quite enjoyable. I think it really holds up. I also think that we would be remiss not to mention a really iconic moment from the top of the movie. Tina wakes up from the very first nightmare and there's a big rip, 4 rips across the front of her nightgown because Freddy has attacked her and she just barely got away. And her mom sees it and says, "You gotta cut your nails."
Like they're like monstrous claw like marks in her nightgown, and mom's just like, yeah, you just gotta take a nail filer to that. Like, come on, get it together.
Yeah, kind of what I like to assume is that she really does have just talons.
The mom like really expects the worst from this girl.
Yeah.
Like she just expects her to have like demon nails. Yeah. Like
Old Talons Tina, we always call her.
Old Talons Tina. Well, you missed also the most iconic moment of this movie is also involving Tina.
One of the first things that happens when Freddy appears, they're in kind of an alleyway, and there's Freddy, and his arms get really long, and there's something about it that just like, makes my day. Yeah, his arms get so long so that he's in the middle of the alley and he needs to be able to scrape both sides of the alley, which doesn't really make sense because he only has claws on the one hand.
Yeah.
But I just love it. That moment is just, I'm passionate about it.
Is he gonna give her a big hug?
Maybe this is just me, but I don't find Freddy Krueger scary. I mean, obviously, if I ran into the man, that would freak me out. But as a villain, this is not the type of thing that I personally find particularly scary. Just his character. I don't think he has a scary voice. His voice sometimes comes up and he's like, "Nancy, it's me, Freddy." It just doesn't creep me out in the least. I find much more of like a creepy whispers or something like that. That bothers me a lot more. But it sounds like his voice was put through a voice changer and it's just like silly seeming to me. So I actually think the parts of this movie that might potentially be scary are always before Freddy shows up.
It's the anticipation.
Yeah, because at the beginning, Tina is walking around and she's freaked out. She's going down to the boiler room. That's chilling. potentially. And then Freddy shows up and he's like, it's me, Freddy Krueger. I have the big nails and I'm coming at you. And I'm like, I'm not scared at all by this.
Yeah.
Craft corner, the corner for crafts. Craft corner, we're just crafting in a corner. Craft corner.
So
Great.
what's your Halloween craft?
My Halloween craft is a beautiful pumpkin cookie. So I have a recipe that I'll link down below.
Yeah.
Go to a local farmer's market and pick up a Halloween cookie. That's the recipe.
Oh, I've used that recipe before. I really like that one.
Yes. Yeah, it's really surprisingly simple.
How many cookies out of 5?
Oh, it's 5.
5 out of 5.
It's an easy 5, baby.
My Halloween craft is a simple Freddy Krueger themed cocktail napkin.
Oh, it's gorge.
When you're having a Halloween party and a Freddy Krueger party and you want a little bit of a napkin for your guests, it's not fully dry, as you can see. Also, the edges are a little messed up because one of my cats did walk through it. But this was a great little, it's a quick finger paint. I just took some black paint, poured it from the bottle directly onto my hand and kind of went, and it was really easy, quick, and fun.
That's really, really inspired because I do want to have a Freddy Krueger party at some point. I think.
Yeah, but it'll have to be after my arm longitening surgery.
Arm longitening surgery.
I could have said lengthening, but I really like what I've done with the place.
No, I think we're funny.
I agree.
Right, YouTube? I love this cookie.